30 years ago, I sank every penny I had into 15 acres of untouched countryside just beyond Pinewood County. Back then, it was nothing but rolling hills, endless skies, and miles of open land. I built my ranch house with my own hands, perched above a natural spring that flows with the sweetest water you'll ever taste. After spending 4 decades working livestock across the Midwest, I knew exactly what I wanted when I finally got my own place: American bison. These majestic creatures, our national mammal, once thundered across these plains by the millions before we nearly drove them extinct. I started with 3 calves and, over time, built a small conservation herd. Storm, my prize bull, was born right here, a 2,000-pound symbol of dignity with eyes that seemed to carry the wisdom of the wild. For nearly 2 decades, life was everything I'd dreamed of. I'd rise with the sun, tend to my bison, and savor the quiet joys of Ranch Lafino neighbors. No complaints, just me, my animals, and boundless freedom stretching to the horizon. My retirement Weishown, earned through decades of sweat, had come true. Then the developers showed up. They bought the land next door and turned it into Shady Pines, a sprawl of cookie-cutter mansions on tiny lots with fancy names like the Regency and the Windsor. City folks moved in, people who thought rural living meant a bigger backyard and maybe a tomato patch, all while expecting suburban perks. Soon after, they formed an HOA with a rule book thicker than my grandma's old Bible. At first, they stuck to themselves, fussing over mailbox heights and shutter colors. Karimi land wasn't part of their deal. I'd been here long before them. But then came Evelyn Harper, fresh from New York, who clawed her way into the HOA presidency. She dripped with East Coast wealth and arrogance, the type who'd never dirted her hands but lectured me on proper land use, like she'd invented farming. Our first meeting was a doozy. She rolled up in her spotless BMW, eyeing my weathered ranch house and faded work jacket like I was some relic. "Mr. Lawson," she cooed, her voice syrupy with fake charm, "we're delighted to have such rustic appeal nearby, though I wonder if you've considered how your little operation impacts our property values. Our landscapers could help." I watched her drive off that day, baffled that anyone could see this land as just a price tag. The letters started soon after. The first griped about my split-rail fence clashing with their community aesthetic. I called their office, explained my property wasn't under their thumb, and figured that'd be it. 2 weeks later, another letter arrived, this one from Evelyn herself, citing some repealed county ordinance about agricultural use near residential zones. When they started complaining about my bison, I decided to face them at an HOA meeting. At 62, I'd learned most disputes could be settled with a straight talk. I was dead wrong. I walked into their fancy clubhouse gleaming counters, steel appliance in my clean jeans and best shirt. They stared like I'd tracked mud across their marble. Evelyn stood at a podium, her PowerPoint flashing community standards enforcement, with a photo of my bison pin circled in red, labeled hazards adjacent to our community. "These animals are dangerous," she declared, flipping to a shot of Storm. "They belong in a zoo." I stood up. "I raise conservation bison. This is private land outside your control." She smirked. "Mr. Lawson, your setup might have been fine once, but our community's moved on." Afterward, Tom Grayson, a decent guy from the development's edge, caught me in the parking lot. "Evelyn's husband golfs with the county commissioner every Sunday," he warned. "They're looking at ways to push you out zoning challenges, whatever sticks." It's not right. The next day, someone slipped me their meeting minutes, highlighting phrases like nuisance ordinances, watershed rules, and eminent domain for a community road. I had an ally inside, but I was under attack in my own home. By early summer, I'd almost forgotten the HOA drama when their newsletter landed in my mailbox. The headline screamed, "Summer Celebration, a community barbecue extravaganza," with a map showing the event on my back pasture. Not near it. Tiny print thanked the county for facilitating temporary use of adjacent scenic property. Then came a certified letter on thick paper with gold seals, claiming my pasture was requisitioned for community enhancement under some vague ordinance. I called my lawyer, Ed Carter, who'd handled my land deal years back. "They can't do this, Sam," he said. "It's private property. That stamp looks fishy, either a mistake or fraud." He fired off cease and desist letters, but they ignored him. Meanwhile, they sold Dulaw 75 tickets for an authentic ranch experience on my land, using telephoto shots of my spring and bison to promote it. The kicker? Their site advertised farm-to-table dining with bison burgers served inside of my herd. I was floored by the cruelty. The county clerk, a longtime local, whispered that Evelyn's husband's golf buddy, Commissioner Hayes, was stalling my complaints until after their July 15th event. I posted no trespassing signs. They vanished overnight, replaced with parking arrows down my road. This wasn't just a party, it was a war on my rights. 2 weeks before their gala, I woke to diesel engines. Outside, workers in Shady Pines polos were staking my pasture, unloading gear near my spring. "What's this?" I demanded. The foreman shrugged. "Setting up for the summer celebration stage, toilets." "Take it up with the lady." There was Evelyn, in linen pants and silk, directing portable toilets like a battlefield commander. "This is illegal," I said. She waved me off. "It's for the community's good, Mr. Lawson. The county's approved it while your objection," she air-quoted, "is processed." I pointed to the Bison burger banner. "You're CIVYing that in front of my herd." She sneered. "They're just animals. They don't know." I called the sheriff, but they claimed it was a CIVYL matter, unless I had proof of trespassing. Evelyn's crew even moved my fence 10 feet inward, redrawing my land while the county dawdled. That night, my ranch hand, Bill Turner, a Vietnam vet, and loyal friends out with me on the porch. "We could leave for the weekend. Sue later," he suggested. I shook my head. "If we go, they'll claim more next time. This is about my life's work." We mapped my land by lamplight, plotting bison pathways with portable fencing. "No one gets hurt," I said. "But they'll learn." At midnight, Tom knocked, nervous. "They're expecting 300 people, commissioners, reps, a reporter. Evelyn's hired bouncers to handle you if you resist." The Bison burgers were set for 12:30, post-speech. I thanked him and checked on Storm, slipping him an apple. "Just be yourself tomorrow, buddy," I murmured. This wasn't just about land, it was about a disappearing way of life. Saturday dawned bright. Luxury cars lined my road by 9 a.m., guests in sundresses and shorts traipsing across my pasture, snapping selfies with my bison. Caterers set up grills, a quartet tuned near my spring. Evelyn's bouncers tracked me as she welcomed 250 guests from a stage, gushing about our shared treasure. I stepped up. "This is private property. You're trespassing. Move this event." She laughed me off, whispering, "Get off my stage or security hauls you out." I nodded to Bill it was time. He opened the eastern fence, then the western, creating a corridor to their setup. Minutes later, Storm crested the rise, 2,000 pounds of majesty, followed by the herd. Guests froze as he bellowed, heading for the Bison burger grill. Evelyn shrieked, "Security," but her guards balked. "I ain't wrestling that," one laughed. She fled as Storm hit the stage, scattering her VIPs. The herd sampled buffet tables, trampling crystal and china. I watched from my porch, justice unfolding. Sheriff Daniels arrived 20 minutes later. Evelyn, disheveled, demanded my arrest. He loosed wild animals. Tom spoke up. "They lied about permits." A retired judge added, "That stamp's forged." The commissioner admitted no approval existed. "You're trespassing, Mrs. Harper," Daniels said. "Leave or face charges." She stormed off, vowing revenge. By morning, Evelyn was ousted as HOA president. They paid for damages, restored my fence, and the commissioner promised protections. A magazine ran, "Last Stand at Lawson Ranch," spotlighting rural struggles. Evelyn and her husband fled to New York. Now, I wake to tend my herd, smiling as Storm sniffs the air. "Let them throw galas, I'll keep my pasture." That's freedom.